Hello, hello.
Hi.
So, how's it going?
Things are going pretty well.
That's good to hear. I saw your set with Load Spiller. That was a heartbreaker. And I've definitely been in those, but like, man, it's you know what? They always hurt. They always hurt. But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that. It is what it is. The fact that I even got within that position to begin with, I'm very happy with. And I know that the issue is that I was very uncomfortable with the idea of having to deal with aggressive Bowser, because I had no idea how I would deal with that in the moment. So I wanted to try and set the pace enough to where I would still...
Yeah, and I think that, like, one of the things that we forget sometimes in those moments is that, like there are a lot of opportunities, I think, that to, like, back throw him and, like, just, like, chuck him off the stage. Even if we're playing for timeout, like, whether we're playing to win or playing for timeout, I feel like even if we got one back throw, like, that puts us so far ahead on either strategy. Because, like, back throw also takes, like, a long time on Bowser. Like, it takes, like, a solid second and a half to just, like, chuck him because of his weight. And then on top of that, like, it does 11. We get some pummels in there. If we get a PK Thunder when he's off stage or something, like, that's additional time. Like, it's just, we have a lot of things that can work in service of our game plan that also allow us to potentially just win outright. So there's... a lot of, like, interesting things there. This actually funnels well into, like, the discussion on Punish Game, because really what Punish Game is, like, how are we setting ourselves up for the best spot possible to take the stock and win the game? So, yeah. With that, I'll pass it to you. What are some of the things you've noticed about, like, Punish Game in this game compared to other games on Ness?
So, as far as things go, it's been very difficult to find any sort of, like, I guess, basic bread and butters that can work at low and mid percents across the cast.
Okay.
On different combo weights. So in PM, like, it's very easy for me to look at a tool like down throw in that game, or a tool like magnet, or down tilt, and then start understanding how the way those moves send my opponents and how those interact with their weight classes, with CC percents, and other properties in those games made it so that I could kind of learn things on the fly. And I've been noticing, I previously thought that it was just a case of me brute forcing my way into learning a Punish Game with PM. But I'm actually having about as easy a time learning how to punish in Rivals 2 as I did in PM, so I think it's just like with Melee, I'm not sure how to start, what situations to look for, how the punish across the cast is going to differ.
Cool. So let's start with this one, because, like, this one is, like, kind of a... So we know that, like, you're familiar with this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what's cool about this is why I like up throw back air so much in general is because it leads into, like, other things, like grabs. Like, you can see that she's in stun for a long time, so, like, we have stuff like that's, like, quite good. I would say that, like, one of Ness's big strengths is the electric hit lag is asymmetrical. So his, like, back air has, like, additional bonus stun. Like, if we go through, like, damage here, for example. And I don't know if this is, like, necessarily what you had in mind, but, like here, I'm pretty sure that's a frame we hit. Pretty close to it. So you can see that, like, the hit lag there's hit lag on us, but then there's hit lag on them. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's more on them than on us. Because this is them, they're at 10, and this is us, we're at 6. So, like, we hit this, and then we're able to auto-cancel. Let's see what they're stun. That's a lot to work with, given our game state. Now, granted, we're still on this is like how much advantage we're actually at, but like that's still a ton to work with. Like being plus 11 after a hit onto a platform at like 0, like that's another grab. In fact, if I do that correctly, like we do get that grab. So I would say that like in general, one concept that's like pretty important like with him, because of his like particular weaknesses, is the idea that we're going to be like we're just going to be like following the opponent onto the platforms ourselves when we're comboing is a pretty important one. Because you can see like how that opens up like a lot of options. His whole thing is that he's height challenged, like he's kind of like vertically challenged when he's doing things. So like being able to like move on, so how you like move on to the platforms with the opponent actually makes a pretty substantial difference. I think that should usually be a little higher for up airs. But you can see how like that like actually like contributes quite a bit to like making our combo work. Now there's like top platform is a problem, but even then I think that we can still get her sometimes like with a good jump. See what I mean? Like I think you can get that if you're perfect, which is like
in that situation, is there anything that can help with getting that top plat confirm on Battlefield?
Yeah, buffer jump.
Without I was about to say without having to read the tech.
You will have to react to the tech, but I'd say the buffer jump helps a great deal. Like, you see, like, how he's just, like, acting on the second frame possible? Like, his shield, like, comes out, but, like... And then we have, like, we have the time to confirm the DI, so it's, like... It's not, like, as bad. It's not as bad as, like, with other characters. I don't know of a great way to do this, but you can... But, again, the more important thing is, like, just the idea of following the opponent up when we're, like, doing these combos. I think is, like, a really important one, because I don't know if you do that in other games, but in this one, it's, like, definitely very, very, very critical.
One sec, I gotta step away for a few times.
No worries.
Here's okay, back.
Okay, perfect. Now, in terms of standard B&Bs, because that's something that we've been talking about a bit here, let's start with Mario, because he's a pretty, like, middle-of-the-pack weight in general. What I would say here, I usually like to start on no DI as my starting point to understand how things, like, generally hit people. And, like, stuff like this, where it's, like, we're kind of carrying him forward with, like, back air into something... I'd say that this is, like, a pretty important one. Pardon? Pardon? Yo, are you there? Oh, let me try something.
Okay, yeah. You were just starting with the Mario, and then it just...
Gotcha.
Through everything up to now.
Okay, no worries. What I was gonna say is, I usually like starting on no DI because it's like a good, especially with stomp characters, because like it's a good entry point for like understanding how your moves generally hit them. And you can see like there's kind of certain outcomes that are going to be difficult for us to work with in general, like namely like when they like omsa-tech the stomp. But there's certain things that are consistent, like namely just, I'd say back air in general at low percents is something that like we can build a lot out of. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, it has a good trajectory. It has the asymmetrical stun, even though, like, it gives them more to smash DI, so you're like, that bonus stun that we get for, like, being able to travel with the opponent and do things like this is, like, so valuable. And all we did was put him to 10. So I'd say that in general, like, that is a good, like, that kind of concept of, like, pop them up, like, it's kind of similar to Marth's double fair in a lot of ways. In that, as long as you can hit them, like, as long as you can, as long as, like, your body kind of, like, lines up with, like, where they're going, regardless of their DI. Like, on the pop-up, it doesn't really matter where he goes, as long as we are able to, like, reach them within the amount of stun time that we have, you know what I mean? Like, once we pop him up like this, as long as we can get to where he's going during the amount of stun that there is, it doesn't really matter, like, what their DI is. And that's kind of like what Ness is using with his good air mobility off his stomp in that situation. Like, this probably will look a lot easier on Puff, just because she's a little lighter, but, like, it's kind of the idea of, like, we hit her up, and then it doesn't really matter where she goes, as long as we, like, see how that just kind of, like, works. And it's going to work no matter where she DI. If she gets popped up by the up air, it's going to work no matter where she DIs, as long as I can get her with the startup frames, like that. And that's where, like...
Case is really similar to HDR in this Spanish game.
Yeah, there you go. So, like, and you can see that, like, by moving out of... Like, by dashing with this guy, we make it easier on ourselves to do it. Well, similar rule applies with Ness here. Like... If we have him on random DI, like... See what I mean? Like, we have actually, like, good punishes on this character at low percent with this kind of thing because of that. Like, but the big thing is, like, being able to, like, get the right momentum. And one of the nice things about him is that he just naturally has good air mobility that, like, works well for this kind of, like, idea. Now, the other nice thing about him is that, like, he also has probably... where's Floor Hug? Down and away. He has, like, in my opinion, like, the best way of punishing Floor Hug, in that he just has a really good reset. Because, like, if somebody fails the tech on this, like, let's make her not tech. Like, he can just actually reset out of this. So I'd say that, like, one of the big things with Stomp is, like, being ready for this outcome, and then being ready for the pop-up outcomes are, like, a huge part of being good with him. Like, being good with his punish game. Because, like, you can see how much we get off that.
Yeah, is this something that's possible to, like, react to whether they pop up or knock down?
I'd say so. Like, I would say that it's going to be hard to get, like, the full stomp reset. Like, the full, like, rapid stomp reset kind of thing off it. But the beauty of, like, this stomp follow-up is you also want to reset her near the end of her tech animation anyway. The reason for that has to do with, like, with her being airborne versus not airborne. So, you know how we did work with the ECBs, like that, like how I sent you that stuff on, like, how resets work?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you remember about that? Just like what do you tell me how those work? Like, tell me how the opponent gets out of those.
Okay, so in terms of the tap reset itself, there's the 3 states. There's 1 if you tap reset when they're airborne, 1 in their animation, and then 2 if they're grounded. If I recall correctly, the airborne one is if they are airborne after 13 frames, then they can jump out or air dodge or otherwise be actionable, and if they're grounded, then it's determined based on if the move... I just had this in my brain. Whether it was an optionless or an option tab reset.
Yep. No worries. So here's the thing. Like, let's take a look at Puff's position here. So, Oh, actually, that's cool. I did not know that. Well, let me just turn something on. We might have found something out. So Puff is actually on the ground. Does she have any part of her error animation, have her reset animation where she's considered airborne? It does not look like it. So that's actually right, because she's one of the ones with the fixed ECBs. So that actually, so it doesn't actually matter technically when you do it on Puff, but it will matter on like on characters like him, because some characters, when you're hitting them on the ground here, you'll notice if we turn his teching off, let's turn that off. Tech option none, and let's go through frame advance. And we need his position. Info display. Position. Yeah. So you notice that there's like, he's on the ground right now because his position is listed as this, 0, 0, 0, 0, right?
Yeah.
But as he's on the ground, he kind of bounces, his character model itself bounces around a lot. So it's like it's actually considered leaving the ground for part of this. So if we stomped him during some of that, like he would be considered not airborne. That is why we want to hit him in those last 2 frames. Do you see what I mean? Like, ideally speaking, we actually want to hit people during tap resets towards the end of their like tech animation or at the very beginning, to ensure that they don't actually get out of it, or like to limit the input of like the impact of smash DI. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I remember that this specific property of the ECB shifting during the animation is something that I noticed when I was trying to do something versus Falco, and he bounced up, and something I dared to pop him up was actually knocking him back down.
Yeah, and you can see how with random DI, you can see how useful this is. Like in terms of just like ensuring that he's like, in terms of ensuring that we can do things. But that's the other cool thing about this though, is that you can actually use that with your jab, like when because of how quickly our auto cancel happens with our down air, you can actually use that to your advantage. Like if we pop him up like so and we hit him back down, you see how we can just like kind of like take another one? Like that can be actually quite useful.
So can that actually tech trap him if they try and like tech a little too late and they get into the miss tech and then they're just forced into miss tech immediately after? Is it fast enough for that?
Well, it comes out on 20, so I would think so. Yeah, so yeah, of course. Like, it comes out on 24 when we factor in the jump. So yeah, it like can overlap, absolutely. Like, it doesn't overlap if they're absolutely perfect. But if they're within 4 frames of error, yeah, absolutely it can work.
Cool.
Like, you can absolutely lay traps like that. This is actually this is why I actually get really upset when people do this, like, really early. Out of, like yo-yo glitch really early during combos. Because, to me, like, doing it at that point is so much more effective because the yo-yo glitch is fundamentally a finisher. Like, when we think about what it does, when we think about the advantages and pros and cons of the yo-yo glitch, it's really just that it's securing, and like, it's kind of like creating a, the persistent hitbox is giving us presence in spots that we don't normally have it. That's really kind of like what it's doing, which means it's going to be most effective for like finishing in general. So when people like, you know, do it at like 25, I'm just like, no, God, why?
I mean, even then, I feel like you wouldn't be able to get as much value out of it at those percents, because when I'm trying to go for yo-yo glitch at the very least, I'm trying to either like trap them into some sort of kill or just like get a raw thunderjacket.
True. Absolutely. On that note, let's talk about B&Bs. So, like, I think that, like, something that we get wrong with him is that we try to make down throw work a lot. I think that, like, really the good throw with him is up throw and forward throw. Because this one sends, like, super far out and puts them in the corner if we're not sure what to do with our throw. And this one combos. Like... yeah. Like you have a lot off this. Do you know how the low percent? How comfortable are you with the low percent combo on FD in general?
It's something I've been practicing with, and it's something I've been getting better at.
Okay. So what would that be in terms of level of comfort? And like, what is your understanding of what the route looks like?
So off of a grab a 0, I feel generally, I mean, I guess like 60 or 70% comfort. It is generally, if they DI close enough for me to get the regrab at an early percent, then I'll try and go for that up until, I want to say around 30% or so.
Yeah.
And then I would go for the DJC up air and dash JC grab follow-up afterwards. If they try and DI away, it gets a little trickier with the dash JC grab, and that's where I tend to have a bit more of an issue. But it is...
So like this stuff is like this is all like basically stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So with that in mind, let's like put him to like, let's talk about the stuff that's a little bit trickier. So you mentioned that like these percents, it's really like 40 plus that things would be like get dicey, right?
Yeah. This is generally when I start just going for, I'd say 2 more up airs and then trying to hit a back air.
Okay. So something like this, maybe another up air.
Yeah, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, his combo here is a little weird because you have like a decent finisher, but it is kind of DI-able. So I always like, for me, like, it's always, the question is always like, when do I do that? And I think that like I think the more that we can rely less on the up air, the better, in a weird way. Because like we also want to create like a running start for ourselves. Because, like, I think that even sending him off stage with Nair with a bad angle is, like, a lot better. Like, that I feel way more comfortable about. Or that if he was sent the other way. Like, that I feel more comfortable about than, like, than up-airing him first. I almost view up-air more as a vehicle for setting up, like, a better, like, kill with, like, something like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see the vision.
Yeah, like, it's not that, like, up air's bad by any means, but it's just that, like, he doesn't really, like, because of his height challenges, it's like he cares a lot about the angle that he sends his opponent off, and up air just isn't always the best way to, like, up airing for max damage just isn't always the best way of doing that.
Yeah, if anything, it kind of limits his routes near the end of a punish, especially on a stage like FD where you don't really have platforms to assist you.
Exactly. No, what you just picked up there is like a huge part of like where his punish game can go wrong. Like if we get that, right, because the opponent's holding away on our up air, like we're so much... I would even say stuff like this where we equip the yo-yo glitch as part of it, right? This is where like I think the yo-yo glitch routes can actually be quite good. Because like if we get the jacket there, then like that takes care of, like, that actually winds up giving us some teeth on, like, the hardest part of the combo. Because, like, the idea here is that we're, like, putting him off stage with the yo-yo glitch. Like, I always try, like, yo-yo glitch like that, so we can hit, like, the, jacket off stage. Like, kind of like in those, like, if we go here, like, we'll just make him DI outwards just for funsies. Like this, into, like, that kind of thing. And you can see why I want to do it like that, because it's like, I want to be hitting him with the, like, this becomes the edge guard that we use to go out for him.
Yeah. Wow, okay. That's awesome.
And it works even if we, like, mess it up. Like, you see, like, that's just kind of like a gimping route now.
Yeah.
So, like, this, to me, is, like, where the... If we're gonna get, like, yo-yo mileage out of the yo-yo glitch, to me, like, this is where it's gonna happen. Just because, like, we want to do it in spots where, like, he's encouraged to, like, basically kind of throw... Like, we want to... Like, the yo-yo glitch, in my opinion, from using it more myself, it's most powerful in like the edge guarding positions, because that's where like us not have we're like edge guarding is where like a lot of characters are relying on like on zones, like knowledge of zones to like determine like how they how they operate. Like that makes sense, right? Because, like, when we recover versus Sheik, like, we're kind of being like, or Marth, like, Marth is a good example. Like, when we're recovering versus Marth, we're like, he can go into certain spots of stage, like here, over here, over here. But, like, there's certain spots that he just doesn't cover all that well. So we're trying to occupy those spots. Like, we're usually trying to recover around here. Yeah. Because he doesn't, like, because we actually have, like, reasonable options against what he does in this kind of spot. Like, we can go for the edge, we can go for, like, straight, we can go, like, at... Like, we have actual, like, game in, like, some of these spots, like, there. Because he just intrinsically doesn't cover this upper diagonal with kill moves very effectively. All of his, like, his kill stuff is, like, over here. It's a similar thing versus any character, including Ness, so... I think that's kind of one of the things we get wrong with his, like, edge guarding and utilities. Trying to think, though. I'd say for that reason, DI traps are, like, kind of an essential part of his game. Just in the sense that, like, we want to try to, like, we work very similarly to Sheik, I think, in a lot of her Smash game incarnations, or Captain Falcon, in that a lot of, like, how we, like, build things has to be based off of, like, if the opponent holds in, what's the most damage we can do, and how do we, like, how do we get that number high enough so that they want to hold out? And then how do we punish them for holding out? That's kind of how I view a lot of his combos. Yeah. Does this all make sense, or is it too unstructured? Like, this is a temperature check, because I don't know. I've never covered material in this way before, so I'm just trying to see if this is making any sense or not.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is making sense. Going back off of the HDR inkling idea, basically an entire thing about getting the punishes going is that, like, you want to eventually condition them so that they DI forward air out at, like, 70 and die.
Right, and, like, you can see, like, this is why I'm, like, structuring so much around back air early on, because, like, with this air drift, like, we have things like this that just, like, work, right? Mm-hmm. Like, granted, he can full DI out of it, but, like, that's so much damage, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, like, this is what... There's a method to my madness. Like, and granted, like, 0 is a little ambitious. We probably need him realistically at, like, 10 for this. A lot of stuff starts at 10. Like, as a general rule. Like, you can see how much easier that's going to be if I get the input, right? Yeah. And you can also go, like, look more for, like, a double back air kind of thing. For those, like, you want to probably turn around. But I don't like turning around with my back air combos, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I was the same way at the end.
Like, if I can back air forward, I'm usually okay with it, just because, like, that usually means I transition to, like, a fair sharking position. Or, like, a nair thing. Or something involving nair or up air, and I'm, like, usually, like, quite happy with any of those routes.
Yeah.
The other nice thing about this is that, like, it's also resistant to, like, a lot of the ECB shit that happens, like, with the slide-off DI, because of the electric hit lag. Do you know how, have you ever heard anything about that before? Because this is a big place for reliability when it comes to our, like, stuff.
Yeah, we actually had a discussion on this before, regarding the electric properties of fair and bear, and how, I believe it was the 9% threshold for move means that you can avoid SDI down from being something that like destroys your punish game. So with fair it'll push them off, and with back air, slide off and Oxitec isn't an option that's available for you so long as it's not too stale.
Right. So back air is way more convenient in this regard, because back air is you just, like, do it and it works. Like, we'll turn Smash DI off because this is, like, it's, again, computer Smash DI. Yeah. Like, Uncle Punch Smash DI is crazy. But you can see, like, how he's, like, even if we, like, here, let's set his DI to custom. Let's just for funsies, like, let's make him do that. It doesn't do anything. Like, it does it on the fair, but then, like, the next hits just, like, trap him in it, right? So that's how fair beats it. And then back air just, like, combos because of, like, he's put in the air so before, like, anything happens. But, like, this would also, if we give him a proper slide-off DI input, like, something like this, like, you can see, like, this Nair is never going to lead to anything. Even this Stomp is going to, like, have trouble, like, connecting things. But one of our, like, perks is that we don't have to worry about any of that. Like, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So, like, back here, so I would say that, like, a big thing, like, when it comes to platforms, I'd say there's kind of, like, a few schools of thought when it comes to, like, tech chase, like, doing, because a lot of, like, because Ness does a lot of, like, kind of, like, platform carry combos and, like, a lot of laddering stuff, there's kind of a few schools of thought when it comes to, like, how you go about your follow-ups. I'm always a fan of, like, I don't mind RTCing, but I, like, try to avoid it if I can, just because I don't like the idea of my combo tree being, like, dependent on me, like... I don't like the amount of error that I have when it comes to messing things up. So I'm a fan of, like, stomping the middle and then grabbing, like, the tech rolls at the percents where, like, where it's more lenient. Like, something like that. Because you can actually get that like that if you're, like, good, right? Like, that's, like, if you are, like, on point, you actually can get these. I'd also say that, like, the other thing that works well for me is just, like, jumping up here and doing things like that. See how see how I'm just kind of reacting to his position?
Yeah.
Like, with how I'm hovering? Like, that's kind of, like, that's also, like, kind of, like, a way to go about doing it. You could also do, like, the side dash stuff. Like, the side dash stuff is quite good. Like, I haven't practiced this. I've been playing a lot more Falco, but, like, you can, like, that kind of grab stuff.
Okay. So when it comes to platform tech chasing, to what extent is the follow-up off of that up throw reaction dependent, and to what extent is read dependent?
Well,
like, if you go for that dare on middle platform, are you able to react to the tech roll if you don't get it? Or...
Yeah. Like, this is all reaction. I'm not, like, actually, like, I'm slow, but, like, yeah, this is all just reaction. Because, like, it's just, because the thing is, the fast fall input happens during, like, where the hit lag would be. You see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, like, if I hit him, then there's no hit lag. And I should be, like, double tapping for fast fall when that happens so I can get better follows like that. But, yeah. The cool thing about this, too, is that if he techs in place, like, granted, like, the computer will be perfect at this, but, like, if we do him custom DI, where he, like, holds down in a way... Like, so he's gonna get this tech perfectly, but humans will not usually. Humans will be locked out of tech there. So, like, this would, in practice, this would be like. So in practice, this would be like a free, like, something like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, granted, he's, like, got, like, the best DI in the world to, like, beat that, but. Yeah.
One thing I'd like to see you do quickly on the position that you were just in. When you go for the up throw dare down tilt, can you instantly go for an up air to catch the option afterwards when they were like?
Oh, when they're going off the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can try that. Like, so let me replicate the DI. Probably not off that, but, like, I think that if he does that, we could do something like that, maybe.
I was thinking, like, down tilt and then fall through plat, if that's possible.
Oh, I see. Well, the other thing here is, like, if we know he's, like, if we know he's teching there, like, we could also just do that and hit him off stage.
Makes sense.
Like, there's nothing wrong with something like that. There's nothing wrong with something like that. We could also just get on the other side of him. Like, get on the other side of him with the up air. Because, like, I don't know how if you... Like, up air's slanted trajectory, like, also works in our favor here. See what I mean? By getting on the other side of him, he can't, like... He doesn't have, like, the same, like, options that he normally has. Like, that's hitting his, like, left, but by hitting his right, you see how, like, we're trapping him there. Like, sorry, by hitting his left, we're, like, trapping him here. And it's because, like, up air doesn't hit at, like, it doesn't hit straight up. It hits, like, up and forward. So, like, by being on that side of him, like, if we grab the natural trajectory of the move with him, like, let's put DI display on. It's like, this is the natural trajectory of the move. Like, this, like, kind of up and forward. So, with that trajectory, if we want to, like, if we get to this side of him, like, over here... Wait, does he still have custom DI? No, he's trajectory DI. Random. So this is, like, the natural trajectory. So by getting onto this side, he can't really, like, DI through us. Like, if we have him, like, hold this way, he goes here, but if we, like, go on this side of him, he just, like, pops up and behind us. And that's kind of, like... That's where I think that a lot of... This is also part of why I think, like, DI manipulation and, like, 50-50s are so important with him, because this also helps us, like, prevent them from landing on the platforms. Because, like, a lot of times, like, we don't want them to, like, land on the platforms. And, like... Because that's really hard to get to, but, like, if we make it ambiguous... Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's hard as hell to follow up. But this, on this side, not as... Definitely, like, definitely easier.
And I imagine because of the fact that they don't go nearly as far forward off of that, if we hit the other side of them, then that kind of makes up for the fact that Ness doesn't have the best ground speed to follow up if we do get far forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I get a lot of... Like, that's often how, like, I get a lot of, like, these kinds of things where, like, you kind of, like... I'm supposed to turn around and back here at the end of this, but you can kind of see how, like, that works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think you necessarily need... Like, the one thing I would say that, like, that holds true, though, if you see, like, somebody holding, like, if you have somebody holding, like, away like this at these percents... A big mistake, I think, is trying to force the up air chain, like, when you're not supposed to. Because... Yeah, like... It's so hard to, like, make something out of this. I almost, like, prefer, like... I almost prefer going for, like, something like this at that point.
Okay, so off of an up air at mid% on a space, you can get the dash attack 1 to force attack situation then?
Yeah. I mean, like, not just, like, on spacies, like, that, like, there's a lot of reset style combos, like, at low percents that are just very good on him. Like, if you have him, like, here, let's get him doing no DI here. Because I think that this gets into the tech trap stuff, because this is not, tech traps aren't really, are they really a thing in, like, the other games, or not really?
If they are, then I've never super thought about them.
Okay. So this is a super common one. So you see how, like, at like 0% we can, like, stomp and, like, if we fast fall we get to the ground pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Well, so when do you think the fox realizes that they have to tech here?
That would be... I would say probably, like... I wish I could, like, point it out, but... I guess, like, the... We can
figure it out. Like, we have the power frame advance. Like, we're here. Probably around here, like a little bit before.
That's what I was about to say.
Right. So, like, what we can do here with our like stomp, like, assuming we like do it, is like we can actually hit him like very slightly before he hits the ground, like so. See what I mean? Like, we can just like wait for him to almost get there. This is actually, like, a big optimization that I'd say that like, a big thing that I do with this opening sometimes is, like, I'll do this, and then, like, probably, like, I'll do this, down tilt, and then stomp again. Like, and you can see how much damage that, like, puts on them. Like, it puts them right...
40.
Yeah, it puts them right into the up air chain percent. The other cool thing is, like, sometimes you can even get, like, more than one up tilt, though. Like, because the thing about this is that there's other variants of this style of combo that, like, work slightly high, like, at slightly higher percents. Like, if we put him to 15, for example. Wait, maybe a little higher than 15. Let's put him to 20. See what I mean?
Yeah. And this is what gets into the, I guess, tech, I don't remember the term, but like the tech chase punish suite that Ness has, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about him is that even if they don't, like, I've set him to tech option none, but like, even if they roll, even if they tech roll, like, let's have him go away from us. Like, even if we do stuff like this and they roll away, like, if we think that, like, that they've, like, figured it out, or even sometimes if they don't, see what I mean? We can still get it, like, we can actually still get it, like, or part of it, even if we, like, go for, like, single hit down tilt reset because of how efficient it is. Because remember, like, down tilt occupies 13 frames, dash attack takes some amount of time, but, yeah, get him.
Okay. So from this knockdown, across the boxes, tech options, I think I was about to ask, like, what sorts of different follow-ups and what different tech chase routes look like, depending on their DI and their tech option.
So, a big skill I'd say with Ness is, remember, like, you want to remember that when somebody hits the floor with a tech, like, they have to be holding that input. So if you see something about their DI, like, especially if we're doing, like, a combo like Stomp Stomp, if you see them holding a direction as they hit the ground, especially, like, if in a close one like this, like that, okay, he needs to be a bit higher. But if you see, like, if you hit him with something if you hit him with something like this, and you see him holding a direction, like if he were DIing away, for example, right? We can kind of make a good educated guess that that's where he's gonna go on his tech, just because, like, that's what he has. The other thing is that, like, a lot of times when you're doing these kinds of follow-ups, it's really just a frame data calculation, especially on the no tech one. Like, this is just like this calculation I'm making here about the no tech is just like it's entirely just a math thing. So anything that slots into about the 25 frames that's left behind by this that reaches him is gonna be fine. So, like, even this wave dash grab is perfectly okay. Like, that can absolutely hit. It's tight, but it can absolutely hit. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Heck, even that. So I would say that, like, while dash attack is nice and convenient, there are other options available here too that we don't want to, like, lock ourselves out of, because that's also kind of, like, unreliable with, like, the second hit. But even something like something like that can probably hit. I haven't tested, like, everything, but you can kind of see there are things on the table that I'm not doing here that are, like, probably quite good.
Yeah. It's going to be a matter of me going into the lab afterwards and just doing the same sort of experimentation on my own time, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's a high maintenance character, and we don't know a lot about him. But I think that one thing on the subject of tech chasing in general, one thing that I've noticed with him that I find is, like, a lot of people don't use effectively. Actually, let's use Puff is fine for this. Did you know that his a weak hit up smash has knockback growth? Like, this thing has knockback growth. And the reason I bring that up is because there's actually percents where once it knocks people over, I actually really like it for tech chasing actually on like these platforms for yo-yo glitches. Because if we think about like how this would work, right? Like, we're here, they're there, let's turn Smash DI off, cool. I'm pretty sure we got that there. We'll double check. Fight collision. But, like, the problem with going for this is, like, in a knockdown situation is, like, what if she rolls into us, right?
Yeah.
But, like, this is where percent's knowledge, the percent's know-how can be a really valuable asset. Because it's, like, if she rolls into us around, like, 37, I think, then she still gets knocked over by it. In fact, and, like, because of that, if she, like, arms attacks, we can actually punish it. See what I mean?
It's a pretty cool F smash, yeah.
I think what's actually better, like, let's have her tech away. Tech away, custom trajectory DI, floor hug. Yeah, it's probably just better to F smash.
Yeah.
I have dreams of, like, doing cooler things to her, but she doesn't look like... Yeah, it doesn't look like she's going to be cooperative. She generally isn't. But, like, even so, like, you can't really get mad at, like, 24ing Puff. Mm-hmm. Or 22ing Puff. Yeah, like, I want to, like, I wish that we could, like, turn around and yo-yo glitch her. But, like, I think that would be cool. But I don't think that it's meant to be. Or rather, like, what it would take would be, like, too much. But the point here is, the other thing is that's nice about the up smash here is that, like, even if they're not teching it specifically, like, if they just get hit by, like, a bunch of the yo-yo hitboxes, you'll notice it does a lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
So there's actually, like, uses for, like, the yo-yo glitch that are, like, beyond, like, there's uses for the up smash beyond just yo-yo glitching. Sometimes I actually want to hit the weak hit. Because it, like, keeps her closer. So, like, sometimes you can, like, hit her up like that and do, like, the 14 damage and then get them to do something, like, because that's, like, a pretty advantageous position for us. Okay. With her being above us like that. Like,
yeah,
puts her...
Makes complete sense. I haven't been doing it as much versus Puff, but I have been trying to implement a bit more up smash into my play as well. And even if it's not a true confirm, just being able to put them in disadvantage where they have to make a decision right away does sometimes net me, like, some pretty good damage at the very least.
Yeah, and the other thing here is that, like, the reason I view yo-yo glitch so much as a finisher is because, like, what other move do we have in this spot that, like, just, like, put that at, like, 60 or 70 puts Puff into a spot where if she gets hit, she dies?
Yeah.
Like, this, like, I don't know if you saw, like, I had a clip versus a Jigglypuff where I kind of, like, sharked them into this. I don't know if you saw that one. Did you remember seeing that one?
If I did, then it was a bit too long ago.
Okay, let me show you this, because I think that this is a good thing to, like, a good reference point. Let me just find it here. Because I think that this is a good example of, like, how to, like, of a win condition that's, like, not necessarily obvious, but, like, a good way to look at, like, decision making. So I'm just going to need a minute to find it. Where is it? It was versus SRM. It was, like... And he's an up-and-coming Puff from upstate New York. I have coached him for UCL, and then I think this is it. Ah, yes, here we go. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna show it here, and let's take a look-see. So we have stomps going on here. I messed them with that up. It's fine. And then I hit one... Select our... Oh. Is it... It's saying stream... the stream... Oh, is it a stream issue, or... Like, if you...
It is...
What is it saying?
I'll just screenshot one. Oh, I see it now. That was my line.
Okay, cool. So you can see what's going on, right? So I get above him, come at the diagonal, pop him up. This is like good damage. Boom, boom. Stomps. So as soon as I get him to this percent, I'm like thinking of like there's two things that can feasibly, like I want to hit him one more time, and then I want to play for like either the up smash, or I want to play for stomp up air kill. Like that makes some amount of sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then when I get this fair that turns him around, this is what kind of like tells me that I'm not going to be playing. When I see him coming down like this is kind of what tells me I'm probably playing for up smash because I don't have enough time to stomp him here.
Yeah.
So then I wind up getting this up smash here. I don't know why it's so buggy, but that's okay. With the image, hopefully it's like appearing. Nope. Okay. So hopefully it is coming through cleaner. Cool. So let's see what happens. Boom, boom. I get the fair here. Then we get this up smash, and then all of this is just preparation for this Thunder Jacket.
Yeah.
Because this is the only thing that actually like kills him straight up. So I think that this is a generally important like idea with the character, because it's like you want to be thinking about like how your like combo kill, like how you kill them at the end of all this. Versus Puff, like Puff is a tough matchup for us, I think, mainly because tough for low tiers in general, because the way that like Puff beats people is through attrition. There aren't many ways of like killing her like off the top, and because of her like recovery, you kind of have to kill her off one of the directions, because you can't really edge guard her. Ness is actually kind of blessed in this regard because he's one of the few characters. Like while I think that like Puff is like probably theoretically one of our hardest matchups, Ness is kind of fortunate. Like what Ness does have going for him is that he does have like just really fucking powerful moves, and a really really efficient vertical kill. I think like one of the biggest things we get wrong with this character though is trying to kill inefficiently with back air at really high percents. And we leave too many stomp up airs on the stomp up airs and stomp back airs on the table in general, in matchups where those are like viable kill options, or like very like clear cut kill options. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, because it's like I also think we undervalue back throw a lot of the time, but yeah. On that note, what is your experience? Like, I know back throw gets a bad rep, but what's your kind of experience with back throw?
I use it a lot, honestly. It tends to be one of my bigger options for, at best, a kill just straight up, or at worst, getting them off stage to set up for an edgeguard position. Especially if I can catch them not DIing on characters that they can't react to the back throw if they haven't already processed that they've gotten grabbed. Right.
Okay. So all of that tracks with my like understanding of how back throw works. So I guess my follow-up question would be, what would you say goes wrong when people what do you think goes wrong when we're back throwing people?
If you do it to low a percent, then you can get them into a position where if they DI well, even at the edge, they get close enough to stage where it's very difficult to edge guard them while they drift backs, especially since that's a position where they have basically all their mix-ups available. They have jumps, they have, if you're like Marth, you have a stall, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering here, when we're back throwing people off stage, what do you think we should, what would you consider too low a percent?
Can we have an example character?
Ganondorf.
Ganondorf. From the edge of stage?
Yeah.
I would say 120.
Interesting.
When I start looking for back throw.
Interesting. So, I actually like looking for back throw a lot sooner than that. But, so...
Really?
Yeah, I do. But I think that a lot of it has to do with kind of, how we cover the space when we're, I think a lot of it has to do with, There's okay, so let me think about how I want to organize this. I think there's like more than one kind of back throw. I think there's back throws that we intend to kill and back throws where we're intending to rinse and repeat. And I think that like the back throws that where we intend to rinse and repeat can actually be like actually have a great deal of leniency to them. So I have like shared screens, so select the names and we'll kind of go from there. So granted, this is a computer, so like it's not quite as like complicated. I sadly don't have many of like much of my footage left because of computer stuff. But like one thing I want to kind of like highlight is, so like if we have him do survival DI, so inwards, like go off here, he still has to use his double jump to make it back, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that like, knowing that, why don't we go like I don't mind covering this option with like our fair or something like that edge, like this edge grab.
Okay.
So you see how that
I think I'm starting to see what you're talking about. So I guess the way to think about it in this regard is that there's probably still like a percentage range where you don't want to go for back air, where it's going to be a bit too hard to go for the rinse repeat, but it's not soon enough to kill. And is it correct that there would be percents both before and after that where we can get a lot off of it? Like here you can get Ganondorf off stage and rack up a ton of percent, if not even kill him outright because of the back air.
Yeah, like something like that, right?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. So I would say, like, the biggest thing is like, we want to be, like, aware of, like, how the opponent can come back. So right now, he can make it to the edge with his double jump, but he can't make it on stage with his double jump.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, that's really, like, the we're, like, if we bring him all the way over here, he can't really make it on stage, like, with just what he has. Like, he has to, like, do something. So I would say that, like, this is where, like, fairs are, like, really important. Like, offstage edge guards are really important because they give us the ability to cover things like that.
Okay.
Like, this is where, like, us going like this and having good placement on it is, like, so vital. And, like, and you can see how much we...
I was just about to say, I'm already seeing how you're using the fair kind of as a descending wall to follow his... follow where he can jump from, basically.
Yeah. And, like, the thing is, we can do it with our short hop, too. And, like, there's a lot of ways, like, there's a lot of room for, like, how we do it. I think a big mistake we make here is forward smashing too early. Because forward smash is, like, tiny coverage. Like, it's only covering, like, 2 frames, and it's, like, it's just here and here. It's really powerful, sure, but, like, it's so hard to make that work. But, like, fair... Like, it's just... And the other nice thing about fair is that, like, the rule with fair is that we want to make sure that we're in a spot where we can return to the stage easily. So you see how I'm not, like, I'm making sure to, like, not fast fall, like, until, like, it's absolutely necessary. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, if we do, like, a full hop version, then I have more freedom to, like, of when I fast fall. Because I have more height to work with. But, like, height is a resource for him.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd say, like, this. Because it's Ganondorf, like, and his recovery is kind of slow, we can also, like, don't be afraid to use PK Thunder for a similar purpose. Remember, like, if we get the back of him here, then, like, this is still, like, workable. Mm-hmm. Like, it probably won't work that well in practice, but, like... But even after the PK Thunder, I think, like, a common, like, mistake is just, like, not, like... is thinking we're done with the edge guard, or, like, that's all we can do, instead of just, like, continuing with more fairs. Because the whole point of this is that it, like, is creating a position where we can, like, continue with our aerials. Or edge hog. Because if we turn them around, edge hogging is viable. I don't love it, because I think it's kind of weak. But, like...
Yeah.
But it has its charms. Like, if we can't afford to take trades, then that's, like, a very good like, if we can't afford to take trades, that's a very good reason to edge hog. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, I think that...
One follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you go first.
Yeah.
I was about to say one follow-up question that I have is, when edgeguarding Ganondorf and to a larger extent most of the casts that have pretty good sweet spots from below, what options do we have to threaten them if they go low, where we can still make back to stage?
Oh, I mean, like, I just fair them. Like, because we can just fall with it.
What if they're, like, hugging the wall? Like, if it's a Falco that's already gotten close to Yoshi's story wall, for example.
I actually like PK Thundering them.
Okay.
I like PK, so I don't know if it's good. I'd say that, okay, the correct answer is if they're sweet spotting like this, I'd say our down tilt is should be a consideration, because like the thing is we can miss it and get out of the way. So like we can miss it and we can be wrong and it's not the end of the world. And that's like a really coveted, like that's a very coveted like attribute of any edgeguard. Like the ability for us to be like this and then like fuck off is like very, 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 very vital. Another thing that I've been liking is just stomping. Because while it is true that they will normally tech, it is also very safe for the same reason. See what I mean? Because we just auto-cancel, and similarly to down, like we can auto-cancel and then grab the edge like so. Well, that's an L cancel, but you get what I mean. Like we can do things like that, which like covers certain subset of options, or we can also like, here, let's move over here. So we can do stuff like this, which is like quite good. Or we can also just do this and run away. Or we can do this and shield if they're like more of a back air character. Like against Ganondorf, I'd probably do this. Against Ganondorf, I'd probably do this or like run away. Because I don't want to get hit by the up B or the back air. Might even do that. Because of what Ganondorf's like recovery options are, I might even do this. Or like a delayed sidestep. In case he, like, because back air would happen first. Because it would be wall jump tech, back air, so yeah, like, something like this, probably. Because, like, the idea is that we're shielding on the back air, and then, like, option selecting for the, and then by doing the delayed C-stick down, we're option selecting for the up B hug. In case it happens.
Sounds good. In this situation, if you're able to edge cancel and grab ledge, what's stopping us from using the ledge invincibility to immediately go for an option afterwards, like a double jump back air from ledge?
Technically nothing. I just think that, like, technically nothing. It's just that, like, I feel like he's gonna get above us if he does, like, a wall jump hug. Like, if he does a big wall jump, if he does a bigger wall jump, which they sometimes do, like, if he, like, instead of, like, going immediately, if he jumps, like, out here, we have trouble covering that because we're Ness. Because we have, like, low jump mobility. So, like, it's just that, like, we're height challenged in general. So, and once we're here, we don't really have an elegant solution to, like, a big jump.
Alright.
Does that make sense? Or, like...
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's just, like, I feel like this edge guarding position... So, real talk, this edge guarding position is, I think, always going to be kind of hard for us. Like, unless we're willing to, like... Unless we can play, like, a coverage strategy, because we kind of have the same weaknesses to it that Peach does. But unlike...
That makes sense.
But unlike Peach, we also don't have the luxury of, like, an any direction projectile that, like, we can just do, or, like, an untechable move that she can, like, sub-float and, like, put below the stage. So we're just going to have problems here. I don't think that there's a way around that. I guess you could make a case you could do this, but I feel like this introduces other problems.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, how I do my edge guards with him are basically trying to, like, not let people have that spot.
Okay.
So, like, if I'm fighting a Ganondorf, the last thing I want them, unless I'm planning on, like, rinse and repeating them with back throws, the last thing that I want is for them to get into this spot. Because, like, this is where, like, a lot of difficulty happens. A lot of melee with, like, low tiers, or mid tiers, in, like, any character, really. Even the top tiers are kind of like this, if they have defined edge guarding weaknesses, like Marth and Falco do. Well, like, Falco does, and Falcon. It's, like, trying to not let them have this area.
Okay.
Like, if you think about how Falcons go out... Like, Ness and Falcon have a lot in common in this regard. Because if you think about like how Ness goes out with this is just like this is just a version of soft knee up air. It's like they're kind of bundled together, but like it's kind of the same strength of that edge guard, and that like the end of the move is really where like the money is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like with soft knee up air, you're also trying to set it up so you don't have to like, so you get back to the stage fairly efficiently after doing it. Now Falcon has an up B that works for this, but like at the same time, it's still the same idea of like we don't want to like commit to like the laggiest version of our up B, because if we have to do that, then like we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, so Falcon will like grab the edge here. We have to like make sure that we make it back with our jump and air dodge. Or like ideally just our jump, because then we can do stuff like this, and like that adds like another layer to like the edge guard. But a lot of the structure is real. I'd also say that like this is like something like being able to do it like in like forward, like in place and moving back like this is also like very important versus spacey sometimes. For being able to cut off it's like we want to do this one versus illusions, and this one versus like Firefoxes, kind of. Although I guess sometimes we do forget that, but you get the idea. Like we're so much of what we do is just like making sure we can get back with one jump.
Yeah.
And ideally just one jump and not jump air plus air dodge. But like if we have to go like low here, like if we have to go like sufficiently low to like kill a spacey like here, you know, they never make it back from there if we hit the end of fair, so it's fine. Yeah. But yeah,
I think we're good on this particular train of thought then.
Cool.
I don't have any other questions on it.
Nice. I'm wondering specials. How do you find? I know his specials are significantly worse than in this game than they are in PM and such, but what are your thoughts on like how like I noticed that you are going for PK Thunder more. You're really good at PK Fire. I've been stealing some of your PK Fire stuff actually, and it's been going quite well.
It's actually one thing I wanted to talk about. Can we talk through some routes Ness has on hitting a PK Fire if they don't like instantly STI out of it?
Yeah.
Because even I'm kind of wondering if I get them trapped in that position, that's theoretically a spot where I should be able to deal like 50 damage at least.
Yeah, I had some PK Fires the other day versus someone. I'm trying to think if I know what matches those were in. Because I had PK Fire, like I got PK Fire back air a lot on a Samus player. Yeah, you know what? We'll just figure it out here. Or maybe actually, you know what? Let's look at this. Where do we have? What do we have here?
One option that Ness could do in PM that I expect carries over, honestly, better here, is if I have an idea of how they're gonna try and SDI out of the move, then I can position myself right next to them and hit them back into the PK Fire.
Mm-hmm.
So in PM, if an opponent was SDIing the move up, I'd get above them, hit them with a down air to get a bit more damage.
Yeah.
Same with narrow back air if I got on the other side of them, or whatever.
Yeah. I'm trying to see where like possible things are. I think. Oh, this is the yo-yo glitch one. Damn it. Okay, whatever. Because I think I kill him with some... Yeah, this is a yo-yo glitch kill. I think there was a back air kill that involved it, but I don't remember what stage it was on. Maybe Fountain? Ah, yes. I remember this. So that's a standard thing. I'd say that in general, though, like, when you get, like, PK Fires on people, like, when you get PK Fires on, like, most characters, okay, here we go. So there, I knew that he was going to come out of it, so okay, yeah. So that one, I covered his jump. This one I covered his jump. Like, that's kind of how this one wound up working out. So I hit him across the stage, messed up my edge guard by, like, not curving it early enough. But then I got this PK Fire on him, and covered him jumping out of it, which kind of like forced him to like then interact with my back air, so he goes around it, and then I just like back throw him on the other side. So I think that like one of the things that's like kind of good is on floaties, I find that a lot of success is in covering their jump because they're incentivized to like DI outward. Like they're de-incentivized to kind of like rise with the knockback because of their more buoyant properties and kind of like come out of it in like in an upwards direction. But because of that, they're also usually mashing, like you're also usually like wiggling the stick upwards, which means that they're probably going to buffer jump accidentally. And then at that point, it's just a matter of like covering it with fair or up air or nair, like something with like a lot of meat, like a lot of meatiness to it. And then kind of working off that. I tend not to back air them, I think, unless I'm very confident in terms of how it's going to hit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that this might be a PK Fire thing over here on Yoshi's. I remember doing one to him here. But this all makes sense. Like this kind of idea makes sense, right? Cuz like we're using the hit property sort of. Yeah. Now that one he was trapped in it, but like I felt better about doing this one because the bomb canceled my stun. So I felt good about like going for a more powerful hit because I didn't have any lag on me.
Okay.
Like I find I don't like, maybe this is a weakness of my play, but I find I don't actually try to keep them trapped in it. I just kind of view it as like I get a good hit or I get to like take their jump usually.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
1 second, I actually have one here from a tournament set that I played.
Cool. I'd love to look at it.
There. Timestamped to around 11 minutes 35 seconds.
Perfect. I love that you timestamped this, because this is great. So let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we get this. Cool, perfect. Love it. Ah, so what do we do with that one? So that's okay. So he had like insane smash DI out of that. So that was like that was crazy. I think the reason his smash DI was so good was he had something else he was trying to do, and it happened to line up well with the input. Because like you see how he's already moving forward.
Yeah.
Like it's because he's trying to like work with the advancing laser. So on this one, we land. One thing I'd say, okay, good. You fast fell. This is good. He gets burned here, I think. And he crouch cancels it. Honestly, here I would be grabbing. I'd be trying to dash JC grab him.
Okay.
Because like with him being like in stun here, you see how you go for this up air, like even like, but with look at where he's like, look at where you're actionable versus when he's actionable. Like he's already moving, but if we had JC grabbed, then like our play is coming out like so much sooner than that.
Okay. Like
here, 1, 2, 3. So this is when you're actionable. So I think that what's going on here is like we're waiting a while. Like this, like we didn't act like super fast out of this. But then but upon hitting this, I would just be seeing that he's close to the ground and I'm either grabbing or fairing. Yeah. Fair, I think, is actually not a bad idea here either, because like we can kind of like, it comes out like not at a similar time, but like it's not unreasonable to imagine that we hit him back into the fire. It covers his, like, because it's Falco, he's tall when he's getting hit by the ASDI down animation. Like when his landing animation doesn't really protect him from like short hop fair in general. So we can just do the rising fair and we're fine. And then I think this was fair grab or just grab.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like we need to push him. Like the thing with Falco is I find that because he has like such a good disjoint on our frontal like attacks, which is where he has trouble with like when they're near his head. We want to be pushing him, and this being here kind of like pins him. So I want to get something like kind of around here, above and in front of him as soon as possible. So short hop fair is like quite good for that. Either that or we just try to like outspeed him with grabbing. I really like that setup though.
Thank you.
This was perfect. This was gold talk to me about this tech chase, because this is all like textbook to me. What was this fair? Like, what did you think was going on here?
I was not thinking at all during this combo. This was just instinct.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's like if we see this pop up in the future and we know that it's putting him on the platform, what do you think the play is?
Would it be the? I don't think there's enough time to get a dare out, right?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
So we know that it has to be a rising. We know it has to be a rising aerial.
Yeah.
Like a rising full hop aerial, probably. So it's like, I think the debate is: do you think it's back air here, or do you think it's up air here?
I was about to say back air. I think that sets us up for a bit of a better position, since up air gives us a bit of vertical challenge. Though the fact that they're actually on the center of the platform on the Ness tech.
I really like the up air here.
Yeah, if I was able to react to the mistech, I'd go for up air, but I'd be a bit concerned with slide off DI on that if they had gone for tech roll.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we have to react to the mistech for sure. Like, I think that's just a requirement of this one. This is where the audio cues of the game can be really handy, though. Like, let me turn the volume up and like let's listen to this. So you heard the. Like, listen to this carefully, like, with when he hits the ground.
I can't hear anything from the gameplay.
Oh. Can you open this set on your end, then, and listen to it? From the...
Sure.
Sure, I'll give you the time. I'll give you the timestamp. Let's do this. Okay, so we'll do this, and it should be 11:45, so I'll just share at this, and I'll just adjust the code, because I know how to do it.
I am already at that timestamp.
Okay, perfect. So listen to so when he hits the ground, I want you to tell me when where the audio cues are. When he play it out in on your own, and tell me where the audio cues are for when he that confirm what he's doing, that confirm what if he's teching or not. Like, what is the sound that happens?
Yeah. It's like a thud.
Yeah. It's like a tuk.
Yeah.
Right. So when you jump up, you know based on the lack of the tuk, and because it's a thud with a green flash instead, that he has missed the tech. Mm-hmm. So what I would say here is when you're going up in this position, because normally this would be a full hop. Yeah. It's when you the absence of the chuk noise is what confirms for you that we're probably going to up air him. And do we up air the left or right of him?
If we're facing to the left, then we would up air. That would be.
So remember, it's all about, because this is a consistent hitbox without any weirdness. It's all about what side we hit him on. So are we hitting the left side of his body, or are we hitting the right side of his body?
We're hitting the left side of the body.
Bingo, because we want to after this up air pop up, we probably want to kill him with soft back air into strong back air.
Yeah.
And we want to hit him straight up and then boom boom.
Mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Hell yeah, it does. So we can there's a lot of stuff, I think. So are we starting to see some points where we can are we seeing more actionable points, I guess, for combo game improvement? Okay, cool.
Definitely. I guess one follow-up is, let's entertain the hypothetical that I don't hear the thud.
Probably just back air. Probably just back air. He's at 60. He's at 60. I'm fine with just hitting him off stage. I think if he rolls to the, I think at 60 it's still pretty hard for him to get a good slide off. So I would be tempted to up air, but if I see him roll inwards, if I see him roll inwards, it's gonna be so hard to work with an up air there. That because we're hitting him across the stage, it's so hard to get through him even with our air mobility. I'm just back, at that point I'm just okay, fine, you win, back air.
Yeah, all right.
God, I love your positioning.
Thank you.
Like, this is so good! That, you did the thing!
What thing?
Like, so you had Falco trapped under the platform, and it was like, so the way that you did this, like, we talked about that, I think it was versus Marth or Sheik, but, like, that all, like, pinning him there and then being able to, like, take it, like, push advantage here and, like, hold him in this position, like, that was really good. He fought out of it, but, like, the way you got him into a spot where you could actually be, like, where you could operate from and function effectively, like, that was all really well done.
Awesome, thank you.
Let's talk about this tech chase, like how we do the Falcon tech chase effectively here. So after you hit this back air, what do you think, like, what are some things we can do? Because I know that you go for the back air, but, like, I just feel like back air at, like, 40 is not really the best use of our, like, combo on the floor.
Can you go frame by frame slightly later, please?
Yeah.
I'll tell you when to stop. Here.
Yeah.
Basically right when I'm actionable and dashing forward to follow them.
Yeah.
So I think that this is actually exactly the position where I utilized that information from the Cody video that you were talking about. About the split legs. If they tech... If I see this, then they're going to be teching in or away. So is there enough time for me to react to the direction they're going so that I can go for a dash attack forward if they tech away and a dash in grab if they tech in?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Like, you, if they... Like, yeah, that I think makes a ton of sense. I like that because it's simple and it's, like, very reliable. I think if you want to be fancier here, your aerial is fine, to be clear. The way that I would change how I do the aerial is I would do the aerial to cover, like, I think I would up air onto the spot where he was, and then I would dash attack or grab on the other outcomes. Like in a similar way, because he's, like, working in a confined space. Like, because we're working with a confined space where his, like, tech roll is kind of being eaten, what I want to do is I kind of want to up air this spot, like, around here. And if he rolls to the edge, then I just dash forward, JC grab him, and, like, throw him off, or dash attack. And if he rolls inward, then I dash and grab him this way as he's going through me.
Okay.
Like, does that also make sense?
Yeah, so there's enough time in that position where if I can get a dash short hop back up air, land on them with a shuffle back air, and would that cover both no tech and tech in place in that case?
So it's like you'd already want to be in the air for this, and you'd want to be, like, time it falling onto his where he lands, and timing the up air so that you're just, like, the hitbox would be out on no tech and the vulnerability frames of tech in place. Kind of like it's a Falcon. It's like kind of like when Falcons, like, knee, like, cover, like, tech in place with knee or up air. We're just doing it with our up air here.
Okay.
And then if they go elsewhere, then we're able to dash dance. So we might not be able to get a true punish on the roll in, but on the roll away, because there's such a confined space, we can still get them.
Okay.
So, like, the advantage to this is that we're, like, the problem, like, because the dash attack tech chase is really good. The issue with it is that it's so, like, it's it's hyper consistent, but it also is kind of low reward if they, like, no tech. And then on tech in place, it can be moderate reward as opposed to high reward. If they, like, defend properly, which is basically just, like, taking the spooky stun, like, where they hold down on it and get, like, they don't DI the first hit, they hold down on, like, the next one, and they kind of go into that weird pop-up animation where they don't, like... Yeah, like, you know what I'm talking about. So, like, the dash attack is very consistent, which is quite good, but it doesn't always work. Like, it doesn't always lead to, like, like, in terms of, like, hitting everything, but, like, it doesn't always lead to massive reward. So this is, like, why I'd recommend, like the DJC up airing onto this, or, like, short hop fast falling up air. It's probably, like, full hop DJC, like with a quick DJC onto this, like a quick fast fall DJC, but, like you go, like, here and then immediately dive bomb to align with their frames, or you could just short hop fast fall. Like, either of them work, but you get the idea here. We're covering, like, the last, like, we're hitting, like, there's about 11-ish frames that are being left over by this. But that's enough time to dash JC grab over here, and it's enough time to, like, dash JC, like, to dash dance this way, and maybe get him, but probably not.
Okay. In that case, would it actually make a little bit more sense to just accept the fact that we will put ourselves in a better position if we just hit them with the... if we hit them on the right side with our approaching up air, because then that gives us the opportunity to react with a dash JC grab to the roll in, and they do still have the edge, basically limiting how far they can go on the roll out.
Actually, yeah, that is a good that is actually a good call, because then if we dash attack the edge, if they block, then we can actually hit them off with the first hit, and then like punish them on the and the second one will pull them into us. So that actually does make a lot of sense. We also have our fair being like a multi-hit that we can use to push them off if they block in the corner, or if they do like that double jump off, like jump back up with lasers, or like jump off, like turn around, edge grab. Like there's a lot of things they do in that spot that are relatively slow that we can potentially clip with our disjoints. So actually, no, I think your play is actually better than mine.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. No, good. No, and again, this is like this is why I like your ideas, because I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And the funny thing is, I think I've actually done that in tournament to somebody, but like, I'm just like, oh, this is like easy, this is safe, and it's like, no, but like, we ain't no bitch. Like,
yeah. I have full confidence in my ability to hit absolutely anything I want in this game. So, honestly,
I envy you. Like, I don't know why I'm juggling like the most technical. Like, I feel like Falco. Okay, if I can vent for like 10 seconds. I feel like Falco is not an easy character to play at like a very high level. Like, I think he's easy at like mid level, but like as you get like better with him, he becomes so much harder. And then Ness is like even worse. Like Ness is even crazier. Like Ness is like hard and then becomes harder. And it's like, why am I playing these two characters? Like, what possessed me to pick these two? But here we are.
That's the fun of the game.
That is the fun of the game. It is, but it's like, I don't make it easy for myself.
I feel that. Legit, every single game that I pick up, it's like, oh, okay, this is the game, this is the mechanics. Who's literally the hardest character to play this with?
Right?
And
like,
that's just like a consistent rule with like anything I pick up. It's so messed up, but it's so fun.
Like, why do we do this to ourselves? It's because It's because we're cool. That's why. It's because we're so good. We're so cool. We're so sick. What is this? Why did I clip this? I'm like, I don't even know why I have this. Oh, this is... Oh, versus Prawn Boil. Ah, here we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that was kind of neat. I don't know why I played that. I was looking for something... No, what was I looking for? I was looking for...
I actually liked that, because it actually showed the tech trap, tech chase in practice that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. What's in... Like, let me see if I can find another one, because I think that, like... Oh, this was... Oh, Yes! This is so mean, and I felt...
Oh my god.
Okay, but for realsies, let me see here. Where's, like, an actual clip? So, like, let's actually look at the structure of a Ness punish here. I find... What was this? What was I doing here? Oh, this is this is the double jump buffer thing. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Taylor. Okay, this was a good one. So that was like, so you saw what we did there, right? So like this is like this is the stomp up tilt thing. But like because he crouch canceled the stomp, I then up tilted to like have them connect, because there is enough Ness's stomp is insane and there is enough time to connect those. Okay. So then he gets popped up by this. So then I do like the dash dance dash attack like tech chase on that covers the 3 to 4, because the third hit would have hit him for rolling, and this also would have connected on the no tech. Mm-hmm. So then what happened here was he held down on the first hit, so then he got reset on the second one. So then I just pick him up and grab him.
Huh. And that's something that works on Falcon because of his fast fall and weight?
The reset happens on anyone. If they like hold down on the first hit, like, so the first hit of dash attack is really powerful, right? So like if they hold down on the second hit, if they're holding down while the second hit is connecting, it just resets them because of the set knockback.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, that's just a thing. Now it's an option reset. Like they have, because of like, you remember how like the resets give you like the wake up options or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So Ness's dash attack 2 always has enough stun because of the set knockback to give them the options. But as you can see there, like that's just RTC. Like that's just like a that's just a crouch RTC at that point, basically, where it's just like we have to react. Like we know that, except it's easier technically because they're all happening within, like they're happening immediately. We don't have to actually react to the timing of the opponent because they're being forced into it by like the thing we did.
Okay.
And then here is like, oh, that was sick. Damn, I'm so sick. But you can see like why. So like one thing I want to point out is that like I don't go overboard with the up airs. So like there, like the reason for that is I know he wants to go over here for this platform, to like for the next one, because it's going to be really hard for me to cover that if I'm going down here.
Yeah, these sorts of DI traps I'm definitely a lot more familiar with across games.
Yeah, so like this is probably like this makes perfect sense to you probably.
Yeah.
And then like I'm not able to get like a great edge guard on him. I actually think that if I had done your PK fire thing, this would have this I could have gotten him because it would have shot like around here. Mm-hmm. So that was me being like not as good as you at something, which is fair. But then I hit the sickest F smash.
Improving at Ness is a collaborative effort, not a competitive one.
I mean, it can be both.
I mean, it's fun.
I have fun competing with y'all. But no, like, and this is just like, so this one I remember, similar idea. So this is another important part of his dash attack, like something that gets overlooked. So if people like, Ness's dash attack is really positive on like Amsa tech rolls. So like, you see how he like rolls into me, right? Yeah. This grab is true.
Holy crap.
I could have also up tilted him if I wanted to, but like, why would I do that? I'm on FD.
Yeah.
The Kumatora jump. The Kumatora bear. Yeah, but this is kind of like a lot of this is just, oh, my Marth. Nope, we don't need to see that. But you can see kind of like how there's a lot of like, I think that there you can see a lot of the structure I have in like the punishes I'm doing to these opponents. Like there's a real like method to, like there's a method to how I'm trying to kill them basically.
Yeah.
Like here I'm like fighting, like this is again Samus, and I'm just like, I think that he misses a grab at some point, which is how I get something. No, I just combo into fair because I'm a G. All right. And at this point, like this is another reason why I like the yo-yo glitch in this kind of matchup, because again, how else do we kill Samus at 92?
Yeah. So
it's like a lot of like how I try to play the character and try to like combo with him is based on like the efficiency, efficiency requirements. On that note, let's look at PK Thunder in this one. So why do you? This is why I like PK Thunder in this matchup. Like in against characters like Samus who have like specials that they do coming down, I really like PK Thunder because you see how it would contest the Nair or the bomb.
Yeah.
So this is another like kind of like utility of the PK Thunder. It's really in my opinion, it's kind of at its best. No, we don't need this. Like, it's kind of at its best when you're dealing with somebody who wants to come down directly on top of someone. Yeah. And you can kind of use it like this to, like shark the space that they want to go into. Mm-hmm. There's a really good gimp in this set against him. Not here. It's like is it this stock? Yeah. So this is another good example of like the fair edge guard. So you see how like that worked out, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that these kinds of this kind of edge guard structure is really like kind of like a big part of the character that people get wrong. Because like let me ask you, how many Nesses do you know would like go for this here to cover the straight forward and like the down?
I don't think any of them.
Right. What do you think that we usually do here? Like, wait on stage?
No, I would expect a dash full hop to try and contest Falco on that position.
Right.
With fair.
Right. So I mean, like, and if I read that's his recovery position, I can probably go out there and get him. But I feel like that's actually like a pretty hard one. Like, because like the problem with like jumping out and doing this is that it assumes that he's gonna do this up B, whereas I'm also trying to cover the illusions.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like, this is a concept that I kind of like think of, like, have you ever heard of me refer to something called order of operations before? If not, that's okay. So order of operations to me is kind of like, it's a concept where it's just like we cover the things that happens first, cover the things that happen first. So in this situation, like with this, after this forward throw, if I don't like jump here, like and line myself up with him, I cannot stop his illusions. Because the illusions are what the illusions are what happen first. Because Falco's illusion moves him on 17. As opposed, whereas his up B moves him on 42. So by occupying this spot, I can block off his illusion recovery. Then I have like the remaining like 20 frames or so, or 24 frames, or whatever it is, to like figure out what the hell I'm doing about this up B. And it turns out we actually can do things. I think one of the things that like characters with good fares like this need to like get used to doing is understanding that they actually can at certain diagonals cover basically everything, or cover like a lot of things, because this like dealt with this because it's intercepting him before his edge grab boxes, which are over here. Like his edge grab box was around here, so it's coming in here. He needs to fall a little bit further for it to work. It's cutting him off before that can happen. So then this deals with this. It also deals with him going straight forward, because we're like falling below it, and then he like lands here, so we just turn around and grab him. And it deals with him going up as well, technically. So this actually like had like pretty much max coverage. And I think that like we don't want, one of the things we don't want to do is like give up coverage on, I think a big mistake that people make with him is giving up coverage on fucking illusions, like I did there. When we don't necessarily have to. Like, I think that if there's one big takeaway here, like when it comes to edge guarding structure, it's try not to like give up covering illusions for no reason, because not having protection there will bite us in the ass. Yeah. I think that's really it on that particular subject that I wanted to kind of like go over. But yeah, you kind of get the idea.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like we don't, there's no point, like, it takes a lot for me to want to like just not be able to block someone on something. Yeah, that's about it really.
Yeah, I think we're good on this line of thought.
For sure. What do we still have to cover? I guess like we haven't really gone over how the up air chain structure works. Like I think we've kind of like talked about parts of it, but we haven't really like kind of clarified what the purpose of it is. Although I think that you can kind of intuit like what a lot of it is. What are your like? You know what? We have a video on this. So like in this kind of moment, like what do you think the purpose of the up air, like this is kind of the up air chain at its best in my opinion, but like what do you think the purpose of like us doing it here is?
It would be to get them set up right next to each other, or right next to us on the next hit, so we can follow up with another one, right?
Yeah, we're basically chain grabbing him.
Yeah.
It's a very sensitive combo. Like, I think that it's a very sensitive combo. I kind of like try to make sure that the biggest thing for me is like I want to find a way to get off it in an effective manner. I don't want to stay on the up airs forever, because that's also like, as we kind of like talked about, that's where problems come up.
Yeah.
That said, it's like I think we can kind of like we can see like what the utility is. The other thing here that I want to kind of call attention to is this is a good way of like kind of like one way that you can also use up airs is to like, so you see how like I know that he's trying to like get, like which side did I hit him on? So I up tilt him here, I up air him. I'm actually not sure what side I hit him on. I think it was his right side. So then I know that he's trying to, like, move away from me here. So then I hit him with the bat. Yeah. So you see how, like, this is a DI trap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's another thing. Like, we don't go out for Ganon enough. Yep.
Yeah. So in general, I'm guessing that the big thing that I'm picking up from the up air strings is that generally, it's not necessarily always the best option to just go for the raw percent. In fact, it seems like it's a better option to try and position the opponent so that by the end of the string, or even like during it, they're more towards the corner or the edge.
Correct. Absolutely. Like, I would say that the biggest thing that people get wrong with this character is they don't value maintaining advantage state enough sometimes. But the other thing that people often get wrong with him is that when they choose, like, there's opportunities to turn your existing advantage state, in this case the up airs, into something much more effective overall, like an edge guard, and they don't take it. Like, that is, like, I think that is where, like, a lot of problems with him come from. And I think that, like, there's kind of like a mirror version of that happens on defense too. So, like, if we look at this, what's going on here? So, like, I know that he's gone low on jumps. So you see, like, I'm just looking, like, specifically for, like, that opening at that point. I think that, like, us not being, like, you have to be willing to take risks with this character. Like, that double jump back just saved my life. Like, this was very good. But I'm still looking for ways to, like, convert. Like, as soon as I'm on stage, I'm looking for ways to convert this into something workable.
Yeah. And,
like, this, I could just, like, detailed him a bunch, but that doesn't do enough versus his air dodge. I want him to be forced to pound, because this is where I will get my kill on him. So, like...
So, honestly, I think the entire trend of this has been figuring out what your kill conditions are in different positions, on different matchups, in different stages, and then do your damnedest to set those up.
Yeah, it's like, he's the thing about him is that he has a powerful move. Like, what's really crazy about this character, if there's one thing that I can say that, like, is really that's unironically extremely good about him, it's that he has a powerful hit in every direction and disjoints in a bunch of them, and disjoints in front of him. So, like, the ability to, like, I know that this PK Flash is not going to ever hit him. It's not its job. The purpose of that PK Flash is only to, like, basically force her lower. It's just to, all that PK Flash is doing, because, like, the thing is, the entire time of this, I'm just thinking, like, how do I get her into a spot where I can back through, like, what are my ways of killing her? So it's probably back through at 150, like, I have to be thinking about that, so max damage makes a ton of sense here. The other thing that makes a ton of sense is, like, up air off the top at some point, so which is why I'm hitting her up and going for that. And then, like, once that kind of opportunity kind of, like, disappears, it's just like, okay, cool. Probably back through, but then she DIs away on the fair and dies anyway, because she's trying to escape, like, the jab 1-2-3 fair combo. But it's a lot of it is just, like, how do I just keep, like, putting them in a spot where they can't do anything about, like, where they can't do anything back to me. And that eventually leads to them dying. Like, it's not terribly, like, specific... Oh, this is Holiday. Never mind. It's not terribly specific advice, but, like, it's... Combos on Ganon. Oh, no, this is Renth. PK2 Edgeguard. Ness versus Falcon.
I mean, I get it. I don't really have much else to say. This is kind of a consistent thing across games that I've been...
Like, here, like, this is...
I don't think I've had to think about it. I don't think I've had to think about it nearly as much as I do with this character, quite honestly, because it tends to be that the options are a bit more clear-cut.
Yeah, well, here's and you can see, like, it kind of comes in different forms, because, like, here I've got Falcon and Shield, I get him into a tech chase, I pop him up with it, I just keep going with it, he, like, actually has good defense on it, but I'm just smothering him, because I know that, like, the last thing I want is for him to have his, like, a moment for him to, like, put his moves out, so, like, a lot of the options look kind of weird, but, like, they're all, you kind of get what the purpose of all of them are.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the decision-making in general.
Yeah, it's just, oh, thank you. Let's go.
Yeah. Speaking as someone who has done the exact same thing in tournament.
Like, here, like, this would be another one. So, like, this is like that back air, up air thing I was telling you about. Because it's like, it's cutting him off from, like, the slide off DI, and it's just like, boom. And you can see how, like, we're, like, because I have the stock advantage, that's why I'm willing to, like, I feel like Ness has to use everything. Like, because he's not, because, like, I think he's underrated, but he's still not, like, super strong, so, like, I'm willing to, like, just say, okay, the instant I see the Marth is off stage without his jump and has to, like, side B to recover, like, you see that I'm, like, using the double jump back air to cover this. I don't care if I die here, because it's just, I'm gonna win. And in fact, I'm so committed to the craft that I'm even, like, putting this around so I can shoot myself at him just in case. Because I also, like, there's a reason for this, too, because in case he's not dead, like, I know he's dead, but, like, on the off chance he isn't dead, like, I don't want him to be able to hit this either to, like, recover into it.
Yeah.
So it's like, all of this is just, it's all just... It's like, I know that you understand this stuff, but like, it really is, he really does require a lot of thought and care, but I do think that he's got a lot going for him if we put that, like, a lot more going for him than people think, if we put it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, I don't really know what else we can really cover, but do you have, like, but I guess what I'd mainly ask here is, was this helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
I would definitely appreciate it if the VOD for this was uploaded as soon as possible, so I could go back and take more specific notes on how to.
No, I very rarely commit to, like, uploading right away, but this is one that will go up, like, tonight.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. I especially think that I'll need to have this as soon as possible so I can really start preparing for the Arcadian in a couple weeks.
Yeah. No. Again, you are a very consistent client, and you always pay on time, and you are wonderful. So no, I will make sure this is I will make sure that this is uploaded. Don't worry about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
On that note, let me see. There's one stupid ass gimp. Let me see if I can find it real quick that I think that you would greatly appreciate. As a PK Fire enthusiast, I think that you would greatly appreciate this one. If I can't find it, so be it. But I do want to, this was very you-coded, and this is from a little while ago, but I think it would be so sad if you didn't get to see it. So, like, let me see if I can get it here. And in the meantime, actually... On that, actually, one thing I want to know, I know that, like, Heavenly is, like, very good at mix-ups in general, but, how do you find fighting him at the edge? Like, how do you find, like, dealing with his, like, ledge attack and stuff? Like, do you know how to do that? I imagine you do, because Bowser's more of a thing in other characters. But, yeah.
Yeah, I generally respect the threat range a lot more, versus, Bowser. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even sure if he went for a get-up attack that often, or if he was on the ledge much to begin with. Generally, I just backed away because I felt that I had a much stronger position, even if he was in the corner.
Okay.
And generally being unfamiliar in the matchup.
Okay.
Familiar with the Bowser matchup.
His ledge attack is shield grabbable for, like, 8,000 years. So... That's, like, one small thing I kind of, like, comment on, like, against, granted, he's not as good as, like, you know, the legendary Heavenly, but when I fought Cast Bros, I definitely used a lot of, like, I definitely shield grabbed him a lot when it came to, like, I definitely shield grabbed him a lot for, going for ledge attack. and then it's just kind of like if you see him double jumping up, you just like roll out of the way, like you just kind of get the hell out of there. So I think that might be something worth like looking at. It might not work on him. Again, he's really good, so he probably has a different flowchart or like a different flowchart structure. But it's more of one of those like worth thinking about.
All right.
Yeah, I can't find the clip sadly, but that's okay. I will find
it over once you do.
One day I will find it and I'll send it, and it's hilarious. But with that, I don't know what else to really kind of like go over other than to just kind of comment that it's really lovely working with you. And I am glad that this was helpful to some degree. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to kind of comment on, or do you think we're like in a good stopping point?
I think we're at a good stopping point. Legitimately, if anything, if nothing else, understanding and just seeing you go into training mode and just do the punishes and like what that process looks like, that's something that I don't really have down, so even that is very good.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. On that note, actually, I will leave you with this, because this one's kind of cool for platform stuff, because you mentioned like platforms and slide off have come up a few times, so I want to kind of like, so this is a good example of how side ashes can help clean up those. Alrighty, so does that make a little more sense?
Yeah, so after the up throw, you were able to follow them directly where they were, and since you don't have to worry about covering the ledge roll as much because, well, ledge roll in, back roll in.
Yeah, like if exactly, like if they land in, yeah, no, finish the thought.
Yeah, it's basically you just have to cover for them being in that spot or rolling away, which is a lot easier.
Yeah, like if they go in that spot, if they no tech, I'm just gonna reset them. If they get if they if they tech to the left, I'm gonna grab them and then just do my standard up throw combo. And then if they go to the right, then I'm gonna do exactly what I did and toss them off.
Yep.
Like, so it makes it real straightforward. Actually, the last thing I will do is figure 8. Do I have a figure 8? Ah, yes, because I think that this will give you a good, like, this is one last thing I'll leave you with, because this is PK Thunder stuff, and I feel like there isn't really much good, like, there aren't many good examples of PK Thunder in, like, the way that I've kind of talked about it, but, like, this is a good one. So this is also another side ash follow-up, funnily enough. And then, like, you can kind of see how, like, the figure 8 is, like, kind of, like, covering where he can go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it lets me, because we're turning preemptively, like, remember, once we hit him with the PK Thunder, it doesn't really matter how, like, how do I put this? Once we hit him with the PK Thunder, it doesn't really matter how we hit him, because he just gets hit by it.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we want to be like, because we can hit with any part of the orb and it's good, we want to be kind of like planning in advance for how they can potentially like turn and like steer away things. So that I would say is like a very, very, very useful thing. Aside from that, I think this is, now I'm officially happy with where we have left things, even if I couldn't find the cool, like the Jigglypuff Gimp. But with that, I will let you go, and yeah, like I said, this will be uploaded tonight.
Alright, sounds good. Thank you very much.
No problem. Share it with the Ness Cord for me, okay?
Yeah, will do. This is probably the most in-depth anyone will ever get for, like, a punish cut on this character, so yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kumatora, it's lovely. I'll let you go, and take care. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.